The last stage that remains for about 10 to 12 minutes. In that there is a packing in the form of bundles at the bottom. So the 98% of settling is achieved till the third stage, and the sedimentation is complete, from where we can evaluate the results. Then we are having different methods to measure the ESR. So here we are talking about tubes, that samples are placed in the tubes and then the sedimentation rate is observed. So what type of tubes are these? First is Wintrobe's method, then second is the Westergrun's method. In the first, that is Wintrobe's method, we are having a narrow cylindrical tube which is having the graduation starting from 0 to 10 mm, from upward to downward on one side, and it is in the reverse order on the other side, so you can read it in any way from any of the side. You are having a narrow bore here inside, where you insert the sample using the Pasteur pipette. Yes, Pasteur pipette is a small cylindrical dropper type of tube which is used to insert the sample into this tube. Then this bore diameter, it should not be less than 2 mm, because if it is less than 2 mm, there will not be the proper settling of the RBCs. Then you have this stand for Wintrobe's tube, in which you can place 3 to 6 tubes at a time. In this Wintrobe's method, the anticoagulant which is used, that is the double oxalate mixture. Double oxalate mixture means it contains 3 parts of ammonium oxalate and 2 parts of potassium oxalate. Both of them, they are having the opposite effect. Like this ammonium oxalate, it tends to swell the cells, whereas potassium oxalate, it leads to the shrinkage of the cells. So the appropriate composition of these two will bring about the maintenance of normal shape of the cells without any distortion. The ratio for using this anticoagulant can be from 2 mg of the double oxalate mixture is required per ml of the blood. Then in Westergrun's method, you are having a tube which is much longer as compared to the Wintrobe's tube. Here the total length of this is 300 mm, whereas the graduations are from 0 to 200 mm. It is open from both the sides, because here the sample is collected via suction using a suction bulb, and the levels are maintained till 0 mm, and then it is placed into the stand with the screw cap on the above in order to close it, and then it is observed for 1 hour in order to evaluate the results. Here in this case, the sample you can use that is in much larger volume as compared to the Wintrobe's. Here also you can achieve dilution, because the anticoagulant used in this case is sodium citrate 3.8% solution, for which the ratio is 4:1, means 4 parts of blood and 1 part of the anticoagulant must be used. So here, because the solution form of anticoagulant is used, so dilution is achieved. Wherever in the samples are very concentrated, having a very high hematocrit value, so in that case we should prefer to have that Westergrun's method adopted for the evaluation. The stand is provided with the 4 tubes, and both of these, they are attached with the spirit levels or spirit bulbs, which will give you the indication whether they are vertically aligned or not. They must not be inclined during the evaluation, because inclination can affect with the ESR results. Then you must know, because the size of the tubes are different, here we are not having any dilution. In this case we are diluting the sample. So because of these, as these methods are proper validated and calibrated, the normal values vary in both the cases. So in that case, the values in case of Western grunts, they are higher for male and female as compared to the Wintrob's method. So in this case, if we talk about sensitivity, so Wintrob's method is less sensitive as compared to Western grunts method, whereas this Wintrob's methods can be used for estimation of packed cell volume or hematocrit value as well. Means after estimating the ESR, if you will centrifuge these tubes, you will get to know about its hematocrit value, whereas you cannot do that in case of the Western grunts method. So these were the two methods where they differ in the size of the tubes, in the graduations, in the normal values to report the results, then the choice of anticoagulant, and then the ratio of the anticoagulant used. So you must go through them thoroughly, and you can look for the adequate procedure for the same for better understanding. In the end, summarizing the procedure for the same, you have to clean the surface of the blood collection using the 70% alcohol with the cotton swab, and using the disposable syringe you must collect around 2 ml of venous blood, and that must be mixed with the anticoagulant, and that anticoagulant will vary as per the choice of the method that you are adopting. In case of Wintrob's method, you must use double oxalate mixture and mix them well and fill the tubes using the Pasteur pipette. Whereas in case of the Western grunts method, it must be diluted first with the 3.8% sodium citrate in the ratio 4:1, and then using suction method, it must fill the tube till the zero graduation level, and then you must ensure there isn't any air bubble in that, and you must transfer the tubes to the stand in a well vertical manner without any inclination, and you must express results in millimeter. It must not be written per hour, that will be wrong, because here we are talking about only the first hour. In the later hours, the rate of sedimentation will decrease, because 98% of the sedimentation just completes within the first hour only. So you must report the result in in the first hour, not per hour. So you must not write per hour at anywhere, because that will be wrong. So that was all regarding erythrocyte sedimentation rate, its definition, clinical conditions, methods of its estimation, and the overall procedure. Thank you. Now, while performing the ESR estimation, you must pay attention to some precautions, like the blood which is collected, it should be collected in the fasting state only, means the person should be empty stomach. Then you cannot interchange the anticoagulant used in the two different methods, means you cannot use double oxalate mixture in Western grunts, and you cannot use sodium citrate in the Wintrob's tube method, because the size and their size and shape of the tubes, they are different. In Western grunts you have the capacity to dilute the sample, whereas you cannot do so in the Wintrob's method, whereas the reporting values, they will also vary in two cases. Then as soon as you have collected the blood, it must be estimated within the 2 to 3 hours of collection only at the adequate room temperature, that varies from 20 to 35 degrees Celsius, because the changes in temperature also affect the sedimentation rates of the RBCs. Then if the sample gets clotted or you see the hemolysis has occurred, so you must discard that sample. In that case, you will not get the accurate results. And during the estimation, the tubes, they must not be disturbed and must be properly aligned in a vertical manner. Here you can see the different clinical conditions in which you can see the rise in ESR and the decrease in ESR. There are some physiological conditions, means not related to the disease condition, in the normal condition. Like in females, you are having already high ESRs as compared to male, and then people living in the high altitudes, they also show the high ESR rates, and in the pregnancy also from the third month, ESR rate tend to increase. Then in pathological conditions, you can say like in case of infections, where the level of plasma proteins increase, so you tend to see more sedimentation of the RBCs, and ESR values, they tend to increase, like in case of tuberculosis or pneumonia. The cells, they are able to stick to each other when there is decrease in the electrostatic retardation, and that decrease in electrostatic retardation is achieved by the bacterial proteins and toxins released into the circulation. So that also lead to the increase in RBCs, because they forms Rayleigh and tend to sink downwards. In case of certain anemias, except spherocytosis, pernicious anemia or sickle cell diseases, in all the other type of anemias, there are a reduction in RBCs and ESR tend to increase. The biconcave shape of the RBCs, it tend to promote the Rayleigh formation. So more the Rayleighs are forming, and there is more tendency to sink towards the bottom, and there will be higher ESR. Then is the decrease in viscosity. It can be due to the raised body temperature, raised environmental temperature. That decrease in the viscosity will help RBCs to reach to the bottom much easier as compared to the plasma proteins, and show higher values of the ESR. So then in cancer also the high ESR is reported, and in the non-infectious diseases like gout, you tend to have high ESR. Then is reduction in ESR is seen when there are conditions like polycythemia, and higher number of RBCs are seen, like in case of infants, they always suffer from hypoxia like condition in the 9 months of gestation. So at the time of birth, they are having higher number of RBCs, so the ESR in that case tend to be lesser as compared to the adults. So in all the type of anemias we have seen, there is increase in ESR, whereas in these type of 3 anemias you are having decreased ESR. In reverse to this, increase in viscosity lead to lower ESR values, and if in the case of the choice of anticoagulant, like in case of Vintrops, you have the lower reported values of ESR as compared to the Western ones, where the solution form of anticoagulant is used. A genetic disease called as afibrinogenemia. In this case also, the people show the lesser ESR values, and in certain allergic reactions, ESR reported is quite less.